All right, I'm back from spring break and ready to dive into episode 4 of Paddle of the Week. My family and I spent time in Mexico, enjoying the heat, soaking up the sun, and of course, playing a ton of pickleball. Our Airbnb had a private court, which is pretty cool, and I also found some pretty competitive games across town. Naturally, I packed way too many paddles, including the Proton Flamingo, Thrive Smoke, Gearbox GX2, and both Yola Pro Perseus 4, 14mm and 16mm, and a few more. So plenty of playtime and plenty of new impressions to share. Here's how this series works. You ask me about paddles, or a paddle company sends them over, and I try to work them into my rotation. Look, I need to be interested in a paddle to dedicate time to it. So if you're interested in it, then that goes a long way too. Some weeks it's easy. Paddle news is slow and I can really dial in. Other weeks it's more chaotic. I've got more paddles than I can realistically test in depth. And that's where this series comes into play. Paddle of the Week is my chance to share quick insights, first impressions, and some performance highlights about a bunch of new paddles. Then, as I get more time with them, I'll hone in and drop deeper reviews on the ones that really stand out. So if there's a paddle you're curious about or one you think I'm overlooking, drop it in the comments. This series is just as much about answering your questions as it is about sharing my learning experiences and my process. Before we dive in, a quick nod to this episode's sponsor, Bodhi Pickleball. If you're battling sweaty hands or just looking to upgrade your grip game, Bodhi's dry tack overgrips are excellent. They're not as tacky as their standard overgrips, but they still have tack without feeling sticky or chalky, and they actually get grippier when wet. Plus, they've got a killer lineup of colors to match your style. And if you're into fine-tuning your setup, Bodhi's got tungsten tape, speed caps, and much more to help you dial in. Check them all out at bodhipickleball.com and use my code MPV to save some cash and support this channel. All right, let's get into it and talk paddles.